In this video, I'm going to introduce the top 10 assertive development guidelines for collectivist cultures based on my own 15 plus years experience. So what does assertive development actually mean? In a business context, assertive development means that people's thinking has shifted from speaking up is not okay to speaking up is okay. In meetings, members from a collectivist culture typically believe that speaking up is not okay unless they have explicit permission. Although the concept is quite simple, the journey from speaking up is not okay to speaking up is okay is quite long and deeply emotional for people with a collectivist culture background. Number 1. The only reliable motivation for assertive development is the desire to overcome fear. The typical sticks and carrots of Western-based training are you can show your presence, or if you don't speak up, you're failing to contribute. Unfortunately, these motivations don't really work. The only motivation that reliably works for people from a collectivist culture background is the capability to overcome fear of saying what they want to say when it feels important to them. Number 2, the only reasonable outcome is a shift towards speaking up is not so bad, sometimes okay. It's not very likely that members from a collectivist culture will shift their thinking to speaking up is good or speaking up is great. However, if around 25% of your department or company voluntarily move their thinking towards speaking up is not so bad, then you will see an overall shift in that department or entire company. Number 3, one-on-one coaching doesn't work. Train groups who actually work together. If you train one person from a collectivist culture on how to speak up more, and they go back to their meetings and start speaking up more, the other members who have the previous mindset, speaking up is not good, those members are probably going to reject them. Collectivist cultures have to shift the acceptability of speaking up together through dialogue. Number 4, only one ground rule is needed for all training. Everyone chooses their own timing to speak. This one rule is very powerful for both training and real-world discussions. Collectivist cultures typically rely on some kind of external cue or a rule to let people know when they have permission to speak. Insisting that everyone choose their own timing forces people to face their own fears of saying what they want when they actually think it's important. On the flip side, make sure that no one tries to help or encourage other people to speak. Managing another person's fears actually prevents them from growing. Number 5, teaching assertive language, body language, voice tone, step-by-step methods doesn't work. The real barrier is fear that speaking up is not okay. Training people how to mimic Western-based assertiveness is not nearly as effective as teaching them how to understand and overcome their fears of speaking up. When fear goes down, people start to believe that maybe speaking up is not so bad. Number 6, dialogue is the only tool which stimulates a thinking shift with collectivist culture members. The easiest way to start an assertive initiative for members with a collectivist cultural background is just one question posed to the entire group. That question is, what fears cause you to not say or ask what is actually on your mind during meetings? No fancy methods or techniques are needed at all. Dialogue allows the members to shift their own thinking from speaking up is not okay to speaking up is maybe not so bad on their own, in their own unique way. Number 7, don't nominate people for training. Always start with volunteers. People either choose to face their fears or they run from them. If you nominate passive members for training, it usually backfires. The kind of momentum needed to shift the thinking of the group as a whole can only be generated by the members who are already eager to face their fears. Eventually, the others will follow. Number 8, training only passive members doesn't work. Aggressive members are part of the problem too. Passive members and aggressive members are almost always locked into a kind of pattern. When the passive members are slow to speak or act, the more aggressive members quickly take control. But when they take control, it causes the passive members to become more passive and also more dependent. To shift the collective mindset, the passive members have to learn how to face their fears of saying what they're thinking when they're thinking it, and the more aggressive members have to learn how to better manage their emotions when the people around them are not speaking and acting as quickly as they hoped. Number 9, only 2 activities are needed for training: unexpected projects and reflections. When a group of passive and aggressive members face an unexpected project together, a flood of thoughts will enter their minds very quickly. The passive members are likely to self-censor the thoughts that come into their mind, and the aggressive members are more likely to take control. The trainer doesn't help or intervene at all. You just allow them to try to work out this unexpected project together on their own. After enough time has gone by, the trainer stops the project and asks everybody to reflect on what thoughts they had in their mind during the first 5 minutes of the project. Then the trainer asks them 2 questions. Number 1, did you share these thoughts out loud or self-censor, and why? Number 2, did you take control too quickly or too much, and why? Without facilitating or interrupting, just allow the groups to analyze their self-reflections together until the group finishes on their own. And finally, number 10. The 2 most important skills are also the most difficult: thinking out loud and interrupting. Interrupting a live discussion is a fairly straightforward skill. Thinking out loud means that someone can say the thoughts that come into their mind without too much preparation. These 2 skills are usually the most difficult for passive people from a collectivist culture. Even if you teach every assertive theory and skill, if those members are still afraid to think out loud and interrupt live discussions, when they return to their real-world meetings, fear is going to win. The best training ground to develop these 2 critical skills, thinking out loud and interrupting, is the unexpected projects. However, you may frequently have to pause the projects to allow the groups to have a dialogue about how their fears are blocking them from being able to think out loud and interrupt when necessary. Each of these 10 points, of course, has important nuances and caveats, which I'll be covering in subsequent videos. For now, I wanted to give you a quick overview of the 10 most critical guidelines to follow if you want to help your culture move from speaking up is not good to speaking up is not so bad, sometimes okay. It's not an easy path, but there is a path. The question for the decision makers is, how much is the company willing to invest to train roughly 25% of the department or the company in order to achieve that thinking shift from speaking up is not okay to speaking up is not so bad, sometimes okay. As long as that 25% of people who join training are true volunteers, you will observe a permanent shift in the direction of speaking up is okay.